So it's New Year's Eve and I've got an emergency call out. I was meant to be going to my mum and dad's, I was just getting ready to leave and about to get that out. Welcome back to today's video. Not in the cold plunge today, but I'm in a cold shed. I didn't realize it was that cold that you see the steam coming off my breath. Now, this is, you'll be glad to know, the last video from 2024, and it also transitions into my first day back in 2025. If you like wiring videos, then you won't want to miss this one because I show you how I wire up a Nest to a Nest plan. I try and go in as much detail as I can, but when it comes to wiring centers, obviously sometimes it's a little bit difficult to follow on the video. But if you follow the information that I've given in the video, it should help you out when the time comes for you to do something similar. And the same concept would apply to wiring any sort of thermostat up to a Nest plan, not just a Nest. Now, New Year's Eve emergency call out. How much would you have charged? Leave me a comment below. I normally, for New Year's Eve or something like that, for the call out, I probably would have charged 250 plus VAT. However, this was for my neighbor, so I didn't actually charge him anything. You'll find out what happened in the video as it progresses. Basically, they had water coming through the ceiling and you'll see why. You might have guessed from the thumbnail already. But I just charged them for the parts that I had lying around just to get them up and running. They're elderly couple. They're really nice people, and you know, they've helped us out. We've got a good neighborly connection with them, so I wouldn't have charged them anyway, just for the parts and the materials, and that's it. But yeah, if it was a genuine other emergency call out, then it would have been 250 plus VAT for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Let me know what you guys would have charged for that sort of call out. Just labor only, no, or just even a call out really. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video and let's rock on with 2025, and I'll see you all soon. So it's New Year's Eve and I've got an emergency call out. I was meant to be going to my mum and dad's, I was just getting ready to leave and about to get that out because one of my neighbors, one over, has just come and knocked on the door, and basically boiler's gone down, the place is flooded, water's coming through the ceiling. I've just been over there and they've got some random filter on the boiler, some random brand. I don't know what it is. I've never seen it before. And the plastic has basically just cracked. So I'm going to go over there. The boiler's got no pressure in it now anyway. It's up in the bedroom and all the water's gone through and flooded the bedrooms. Luckily, I had one of these in my shed, Fernox TF1. So I'm going to replace it with that. I need to get a bit of 22 pipe out the van, put the 22 jaws on because this new filter is obviously smaller than the one that's there. I'll go over and show you, and I'm just going to quickly get it repaired and then make my way to my mum and dad's. Nikki's already gone with the kids. We were meant to be going together, but now I'm going to be making my way shortly as soon as I've got this sorted. Content is king. Let's go. All right, here we go. That's the one that's cracked. Let's get light on it. Yeah, I've never come across this brand filter before, but yeah, that's just plastic. I don't even know how that's happened, but yeah, I've got a TF1. Luckily I had one in the shed. I'm gonna undo the unions from there, obviously remove that. I've got myself slip coupling and a normal coupling, 22 press gun, bit of copper pipe, so then we'll make up whatever the difference is there. Let's get it done. Alright, new Fernox filter fitted. This one, like I said, I have no idea. What's it? Z-Tech. Never even come across this brand. E1, based in East London. Yeah, it's just cracked straight from there. But yeah, that's done. I had to take this off in order to get this thing in, otherwise could use a slip coupling, but just use a standard coupling. Replace the fibre wash in there. Back on 1.3 bar. It's just purging itself out. No leaks. I'm happy. Colin's happy?
I'm well happy.
He's happy. He's happy he's got a heating engineer for his next door neighbour.
I'm happy.
Because what he didn't realise, this filling loop, he'd left it slightly open. So, God forbid, had they been out for... Were you guys planning on going out today?
We're all going out tonight.
Yeah, they're all going out tonight. So you can imagine if that had gone, and that filling loop wasn't off, it would have just kept on leaking out. Yeah, exactly. But luckily, it's fine, and
I've got a good neighbour.
it's all good. Right, we're all done here. I'm just gonna probably top that up a little bit more, let it purge out, check the heating's all running okay, and then I'll be making my way down to my parents. So nice little finish for 2024, I guess. Happy New Year. My first day back, 3rd of Jan. Got Muddy, is that my saying right? Yeah. So Muddy's got me here to fit a Nest. He's fitted a boiler here. It's on an S-plan system. I've got to fit the Nest to the S-plan system. They've got the traditional twin channel programmer, wireless stat, etc. We're just going to upgrade all that, get rid of the programmer and fit the Nest where the wiring center is. And then obviously we've got the stand for the thermostat as well, because there's a wireless one here at the moment. So there's no cables going to feed it. So let's go inside, let's go and have a look, and let's get cracking. So here's the airing cupboard. We've got S-plan system, so we've got zone valve there, a zone valve there. I do not envy the person who has to try and replace that zone valve when it goes wrong. Maybe this opens up or something and this comes off to be able to get to it from the side. I don't know, but luckily that's not a problem. We've got the wiring center here. We've got the wireless receiver for the old thermostat here, so that's going to get removed, and I'm going to basically trace the cables from the wiring center which are going to the programmer. I'm going to remove those cables from here, and then we're going to put the Nest heat link. I might even just put it, when I remove this, just put it here next to it, so then I can bring the cables straight into it like that. And because it's on an S plan, we need to use terminals 5 and 6 as well as 2 and 3. So I'll show you how I do it. I've done videos on how I do a Nest on an S plan before anyway, but there's no harm in redoing another one. Hope you guys find this useful. Let's get to work. So I'm just going to explain how I've identified what cable is what. Now the easiest way to do this normally is from the zone valves, but there's a few different ways you can do it. The way I've done it on this occasion is when I open up the receiver here for the wireless stat, it's got a dedicated neutral and live coming in already, and then it's got your common in terminal A and the switch in terminal B. If you want to find which one is our neutral and live, obviously you just need to follow this black and brown back. If I pull on that one, sorry, that's the wrong one. This one here, we've got this brown cable here, which is this one, that's linked into this terminal, and that makes sense because we've got your 2 greys here for each of your zone valves, so that's a permanent live. So we know that this is a permanent live going to the old receiver. Then we've got 2 other browns here. Now one of these is most likely going to be coming from the programmer, and then the other one is going to be coming from the switch spur. If we have a look at it, we've got cables coming there, so we've got a brown, a black and an earth. So that brown is this one here, so that's a permanent live coming from there, which means that this is going to be our permanent live going back to the programmer. And we can also see this is a 5-core cable, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the programmer is going to have 5 cores because it's going to have neutral, live, hot water on, heating on, earth, 5 cores. So that's confirms that. And to further confirm it, we can just double check the common from here and obviously the common on here as well. So A, which is this brown cable, that should be coming out that same core because that will be the heating on, which is correct. So that's coming out of there. We've also then got this grey here. Where's that going? So no, that brown is going to the heating zone valve. Ignore that bit. And then we've got from our cylinder stat, which is this cable here. So from the cylinder stat, we've got a brown, a grey, and an earth. We can see which is our common by following one of them back to, that's going to be our switch, the grey one, and that means that the brown is going to be the one that's coming from our twin channel programmer, which is here. And that yellow, if you follow it back, that's going back into that 5 core, and that's a cable going down there. So that proves that that is definitely our programmer cable. So now that we've identified the programmer cable, I can disconnect everything from the programmer and then just wire the Nest thermostat, the heat link into here, wire whatever I need to into it from here, and then yeah, just go from there. So I've just come down to where the boiler is, and this is where the old twin channel programmer was. The reason I came down here is because upstairs I couldn't see another cable which would be supplying the boiler with power, and my assumption was correct that they used this as a junction box. I've got the cables coming down from the wiring center into here, so the live and neutral, and then from here you've got, can you see, we've got 2 lives and 2 neutrals, and that's because one of these is actually this cable here, which comes out from here, and that then feeds the boiler live, earth, neutral, switch live, and pump live. I've also identified from upstairs as well that this is our switch live and that's our pump live. So it's a good thing before we start ripping everything out, just always double check down at the program and make sure how the boiler is getting power as well, because what I'm going to have to do now is I can still remove this, but I need to, when I remove it, I need to keep these 2 connected together. So I'll put them into a Wago and either tuck them behind there or put them into a little junction box or something like that. So that way our live will be continuous coming from upstairs in the airing cupboard to the boiler. Same with the neutral, same with the earth, same with the switch live, same with the pump live. Everything will be kept continuous and without any breaks in the link. So we can remove these 2, 3 and 4, because that's our heating on, sorry, hot water on, heating on. It's my first day back after like almost 2 weeks off, so I'm a bit rusty. But yeah, hot water on is number 3, heating on is number 4, and the earths, I'll put them into a Wago. Basically, I'll just put everything into a junction box, so everything is still linked out down here, and then that will feed the boilers. We know what's what. Let me do all that first, and then I can carry on upstairs. So program has been removed, and I've just put everything into Wagos, so all the earths are linked out. Our pump live is linked out, switch live is linked out, permanent live is linked out, all the neutrals are linked out, and then these 2 are the only 2 that are going to get removed from the wiring center, because these are heating on and hot water on cables. So normally, if there was an independent power supply going to the boiler, I would be removing all of the cables for the programmer from the wiring center. But this is why it's always good to check how the boiler's been wired up as well, because where they've used the programmer as a junction box to feed the boiler, we need to keep these cables intact, because normally you just get them out, chop them out and get rid of them. But in this case, we're going to keep them. So I'll tidy this up afterwards. We know that everything's linked out first, so I just want to make sure that everything's working. So we'll test it before we tidy all the cables up here. Now let's go upstairs and carry on wiring the heat link into the wiring center. So we're all wired in here. Got our neutral live with the double ferrule, another double ferrule, so that's linked into number 2, which is then linked into number 5. Live 2 and 5 are our commons. I've then wired number 3, which is the brown here. That's going straight to the brown on the heating zone valve. So as soon as the nest gets a demand, that will send power down the brown to the heating zone valve, and that will get it to motor open, which will then in turn send a switch live back to the boiler via the oranges. And then we had the common on the cylinder stat, so that's just gone straight into number 6. So as soon as the hot water comes on, or as soon as there's a demand for hot water, it will energize number 6, which is going to be the common on the cylinder stat. That's at 70. Let's turn that down a touch. And then when that calls for heat, that will then send power down the gray here, and that gray will then energize this brown here, which is this first cable here, and that is for our hot water zone valve. So that's all wired in. I'm going to screw it to the wall, and then we're going to test it all. Pumps on. Nest is all wired up, and the reason why the pumps come on is because whenever you fit a nest onto an S plan or Y plan, or with a hot water cylinder, it always as default has the bacteria prevention on, which threw me the very first time I fitted it, because the first time I fitted on an S plan was actually at my mum and dad's, and the boiler just wouldn't turn off. It just kept firing, and the hot water zone valve just kept getting a demand even though everything was off from here. So you can see on the app here, hot water's off at the moment, but the spindle on here, I know it's dark so you can't see, that's fully free. So what we need to do is in here, go back into the settings, and go to, I believe it's equipment, continue, bacteria prevention, disable that, done. And that zone valve, I just had it shut. Obviously the pump is going to run for a few minutes because it's widened as a pump live, so it's going to have its pump overrun. But now there's no demand, and yeah, the boiler is going to do its thing. So we're all done. This is on the stand, so I'm just gonna see where the customer wants to put this. So we'll get this set up for them. Other than that, we are all good to go. Everything's working. So job done.